Mr. Walz seems just as, if not more, radical than Kamala Harris to me, because he's actually been the top executor in his state and he's signed this radical stuff into law. So I'm actually, I don't want to say more worried about him than her, but yeah, I think I kind of am.
Yeah, Dan, you've nailed it. First of all, I think Kamala and Tim Walz are equally evil.
Yes,
and
agreed.
Randy Weingarten's saying that this pick was inspired. I'd say inspired by the devil himself. I mean, this is a wicked, corrupt duo, and they have done so much damage to children. Kamala came out of California, our state. She's done so many disasters here. Tim Walz, total disaster. They both walk in lockstep with the so-called teacher unions. And just in case some of your viewers don't know, most teachers don't agree with the radical teacher unions. They call themselves teacher unions to get people to trust them while exploiting real teachers and children. So I think the first thing your audience should know is that when so-called teachers do the bidding of the unions, when they push the unions' LGBTQ, transgender agenda, communist agenda, they get rewarded with power. And that's what happened with Walz. So in 1999, Walz was the first teacher in Mankato West High School to be an advisor to a gay straight alliance clubs. These clubs are started by teachers, not by kids, and they're funded by the unions, and they're used to transgender your kids. They're used to exploit your children. They say, oh, we're going to, make Johnny feel better because he thinks he's a girl, but they're used to turn our kids against us, to turn them into something that they're not. So this guy's radical. He's been radical for a really long time, and they've chosen him because he's done their bidding. Same with Kamala. You already listed so many of his bad policies, but just so people know, student test scores are at all-time lows under him in Minnesota. Of course, crime and violence and taxes are at all-time highs, and
right.
Teachers have also been forced to use pronouns, the chosen pronouns of some kid against the will of teachers. They'll get fired if they don't do it, and behind the backs and against the will of parents. So these people, Tim Walz and Kamala Harris, they are dangerous. They're an absolute wrecking ball, not only to our kids, not only to our schools, but to our nation, to our republic. They're communists, and they are pushing a communist agenda, and we need to fight hard against these two people.
Yeah, no kidding. I had a question for you. Wasn't there a school meal program for kids that ended up being really corrupt, and the state lost millions and millions of dollars under his watch?
Yeah, well, absolutely. And they're doing this all over the country. So what they did was they enacted a universal free school breakfast and free lunch program for students. Now, people always think, oh, that's wonderful, it's for the poor. No, they exploit the poor. They claim it's for the poor. But this program is regardless of income. They even want wealthy children, wealthy families to be a part of these free lunch, free breakfast programs. It's all part of the community schools nightmare. It's a communist program. What is it for? It's to make everyone dependent on government. It's a classic communist move.